Hola clase y bienvenidos. Hoy vamos a hablar sobre los mandatos formales en español. Okay, so let's review for a minute. What are commands? Okay, we had two form commands in Spanish 1. Okay, and we used them to tell people what to do. We had it with chores, so we said wash the dishes, mow the lawn, etc. Okay, here's some examples for you. We said habla español, speak Spanish, come desayuno, eat breakfast, and the one that we all memorized, help me, ayúdame. Okay, we formed these affirmative to commands by going to the to form, present tense, and dropping the S. Okay, so we are going to continue to talk about commands today, but we're going to talk about different types of commands. The two types of commands we're going to discuss today are usted and ustedes. You would use an usted command with someone that you're not on a first name basis with. So, example, if you were commanding a teacher or the principal or just a stranger on the street, you would use an ustedes command with more than one person. So if you were commanding your friends what to do, your siblings what to do, or I use these all the time with the class when I'm telling you guys what to do. Okay, so let's go to our note guide now, and let's talk about usted form commands. Okay, you'll notice it says usted and there's an A and an N. The A stands for affirmative. Okay, that means you are telling that person what to do. Okay, so in your usage box, please write down that this is the formal or the polite way to tell someone what to do. And then in your formation box, it's got several steps. Okay, and this is much different than forming an affirmative to command. Okay, step 1, you need to go to the yo form of the verb, and that's present tense. You then need to drop the O, and then you're going to add the opposite usted form ending. So if you've got an AR verb, you're going to add E, and if you've got an ER or an IR verb, you're going to add A. Okay, so if you were commanding me and you were saying, hey, señora, speak, as in speak Spanish, you would say, señora, hable español. Or if you were telling me to eat, as in, señora, eat breakfast, coma desayuno. Okay, so before we go to the next slide, please make sure underneath your formation box, you've got two examples. Okay, the first one is hablar, and the second one is comer. Please make sure you've written those down, hable and coma. Okay, so then how would we form an usted form command that's negative? So to use, or why would you use a negative usted command, is if you were telling someone what not to do. If you were telling me, hey, señora, don't talk, don't read, don't leave, don't dance, etc. You're going to like the formation. Okay, it's exactly like the usted form affirmative. So you go to the yo form, present tense, you drop the O, you add the opposite usted form ending, so that's an E to AR verbs, and an A to ER, IR. And lastly, because it's negative, you put a no in front. So essentially, the only difference between an affirmative and a negative usted form command is that the negative has a no in front. So go down to your two regular verbs. If you were telling me, señora, don't talk, you would say, no hable. And if you're telling me, señora, don't eat, no coma. Okay, let's go over to the ustedes column. All right, first, when would I use an ustedes form affirmative command? Okay, this would be used to tell a group of people what to do. If I was telling the class, hey, stand up, sit down, open your books, get out your homework, etc. To form it, very similar to usted. So you're going to go to the yo form of the verb, present tense. You're then going to drop the O, and you're going to add the opposite ustedes form ending. So that's an EN to AR verbs and an AN to ER, IR verbs. Okay, so let's go down and do a couple practice. Find hablar and comer. If I was telling the class, hey, speak Spanish, please, I would say, hablan español. If I was telling you guys to eat, okay, so eat lunch, coman almuerzo. All right, let's go to the negative column. When would you use a negative ustedes command? Okay, if you were telling a group of people what not to do. So don't speak English, don't copy homework, etc. Formation looks exactly like the affirmative. Okay, so you go to the yo form, you then drop the O, you add the opposite, ustedes form ending, and then you put a no in front. So just like usted commands, okay, your ustedes affirmative and negative look exactly the same. The only difference is the no. So if I was telling the class don't speak, I would say no hablen. And if I was telling you guys, hey, don't eat in class, no coman en mi clase. Okay, so that's how you form regular usted and ustedes form commands. Let's talk about a few things that are irregular, okay, and some stem changes and spelling changes that occur. All right, first up, let's talk about the irregular verbs. Okay, you have them on your note guide in this order: dar, ir, ser, estar, and saber. Okay, so they're irregular because you can't take them through the normal steps here. For example, I can't go to ear, okay? I can't go to boy and drop the O, okay? Because obviously it ends in O-Y, and then add the opposite ending. That just doesn't work, okay? So for these, you just have to memorize these, and I'll teach you a trick when we're in class. Okay, so please write these down. These are your usted form irregulars, affirmative and negative. So for dar, you have de, no de. Ir, vaya, no vaya. Ser is sea, no sea. Estar, esté, no esté. And saber, sepa, no sepa. Okay, and as I already mentioned, your negative and affirmative share the same irregulars. The only difference is that there's a no in front of the negative usted form commands. Okay, please jump over to your ustedes columns. Let's talk about the irregular verbs for ustedes form commands. It's the exact same 5, and you could probably guess this, but they look very similar to the usted form commands. The only difference is they have an N on the end. Okay, so dar would be den, no den. Ir would be vayan, no vayan. Ser would be sean, no sean. Estar would be estén, no estén. Saber would be sepan, no sepan. Okay, and just like your usted form commands, the affirmative and negative are the exact same. The only difference is the no in front of the negatives. Okay, let's continue on with some spelling changes. Okay, so we've got car, gar, zar verbs. Car, gar, zar verbs are going to have the same spelling change in formal commands that they have in preterite. And the reason for that is to preserve pronunciation. Okay? So let's look at tocar. When I'm saying, hey, play the guitar, play the violin, I have to say toque or no toque. Okay, so that's the usted and negative usted form command. If I was telling the whole class, hey, play your instruments, I would say toquen. Don't play your instrument, no toquen. Okay, with pagar, just like preterite, your G is going to go to GU. So if I was telling Mrs. Whitman, if I said pay, I would say pague. Don't pay, no pague. If I was telling the class, hey, pay your bill, I would say paguen la cuenta, and don't pay your bill, no paguen la cuenta. Lastly, a zar verb, empezar, to begin or start. Okay, your Z is going to go to C. Don't forget as well that empezar has a stem change. We're going to talk about that in the next slide. Okay, exactly where stem changes, if they happen, where they happen. Okay, here, if I'm telling Mrs. Whitman start, I would say empiece. Don't start, no empiece. If I was telling the class start, don't start, I would say empiecen, no empiecen. Okay, last up, we need to talk about stem changes. Okay, so let's think about this. In the present tense, stem changes occur in the boot. Okay? And when you form usted and ustedes commands, your first step is to go to the yo form present tense. So in the yo form present tense, do you have a stem change? Yes, you do. So therefore, in usted and ustedes commands, you are going to have that stem change. Okay? So you've got a practice one on your note guide, and it's dormir, which means to sleep. Okay, so step one, you're going to go to the yo form. The yo form of dormir, present tense, is duermo. Step two, we're going to drop the o. We're left with duerm. And step three, we're going to add the opposite ending. Okay, the opposite usted ending is an a, so you have duerma. Okay, so go all the way across on your chart, on your note guide. Affirmative usted is duerma. Negative usted, no duerma. If I'm telling the whole class sleep, I would say duerman for affirmative ustedes. If I'm telling the whole class don't sleep, I would say no duerman. Okay, so let's see how we did. Let's see if we're understanding. I've got 6 practice problems here. You'll have to go to the back side to write your practice problems down of your note guide. We're going to do number 1 together. You're telling someone you're not on a first name basis with. Okay, so you're telling a teacher, please read. Okay, so use the verb leer. Go to the yo form, you get leo. Drop the o, you have le. And add the opposite usted form ending, which is an a. You have lea. L-E-A. All right, please pause me and work on numbers 2 through 6. Okay, repasemos. Let's review. Okay, number 2, don't add. Okay, no añada. 3, don't try or taste. Stem changing verb, probar. So no pruebe. Telling the whole class here, boil, as in boil the water. Hiervan, another stem changer. Number 5, hey, mix everything. Mezclar is going to become mezclen. And then don't fry the carrots. Freír. It's a stem changer. It's an E to I. Okay, no frían las zanahorias. Okay, if you have any additional questions or comments, please see page 259 or 260 in your textbook